be there. You want to stay under. You love me. More than anything.
So we finally have the origin story for the Mule. For the first time in the entire show, Foundation stops and gives us a real look at who the Mule actually is, and it's not what anyone expected. Due to the way he's been presented this whole season, you'd think his origin is full of ambition or even destiny. But that's not the case, because from what we saw, everything stems from survival and trauma. A system that backed his family into a corner and turned a child into a weapon. Right from the beginning of episode 7, we get a glimpse into his childhood. He was born on Rossum, a farming planet on the edge of the galaxy controlled by the Foundation. Now, the rules on Rossum are brutal, because every family gets one child per household, and they always have inspectors going around for one reason or the other, and when they found his family hiding a second baby, they didn't need to spell it out, because the message was clear: you must choose one and give the other up. Now, whether you kill the child or hand it over to a family who doesn't have one of their own, it doesn't matter. All the Foundation cares about is that you're left with just one. So his parents decided to get rid of him, the older child, instead of the baby. They took him out to the reservoir, ready to end his life to protect the baby. Because it was in that moment, in the water with his father about to drown him, that something inside him unlocked. And this wasn't just his mentalic ability, but a kind of clarity. He stopped begging and he fought back. And somehow he turned their minds against themselves. He made them believe they were dying for him. Also, the way the father decided to do it puts a lot of things about the Mule into perspective. I mean, out of all the ways he could have chosen, he picks drowning. He even had a rope in his hand, like he came prepared. Then he offers the kid something to drink, just to make it easier. And what's wild is later on, when the Mule instructs Mayor Inber to drown himself, even he admits it's a bad way to go. That's the closest we see him get to emotional. Like for a split second, the memory of what happened to him actually slips through. It's all messed up, but it actually helps you understand why the Mule is the way he is. You can't go through something like that and come out clean. And I think that's the most important part. It's not necessarily about the power, but the reason behind it. The Mule's entire story begins with a lie he forces others to believe. You love me, more than anything. He left the baby with a neighbor, dropped off a piece of candy, and ran. That's all we're shown, but it's enough because it explains everything that comes next.
The love he was denied is the love he never got.
Everything the Mule does now, and whether it's the violence, the control, the pageantry, it all comes from that one moment in the reservoir. He wasn't just betrayed, he was told, without words, that love was conditional, that he could be discarded. So now he forces the galaxy to give him what his parents wouldn't. When he lands on New Terminus, he doesn't speak like a conqueror. He speaks like someone chasing validation. You'll all come to love me. And this is not the first time he said something like that. After he seized Calgon, he marched into Archduke Balerian's palace and said the same thing to Balerian's own generals. But it doesn't feel like a promise. If anything, it feels like a requirement or even an order, but people still listen. Mayor Inber kneels almost immediately. The surrender is so fast you can't even tell if it was mind control or it was just him being a coward. That's how strong the fear is, and that's how effective the Mule's performance has become. The Mule doesn't ask to be loved, he demands it, and when he doesn't get it, when someone resists, he makes them disappear. Even the people around him seem carefully chosen. Take Skirlet, for instance. She barely speaks, and anytime she does, she just echoes what the Mule wants. She stays close, like someone designed to reflect the kind of affection he wants and never had. And maybe there's more to it, because after seeing his origin story, it's hard not to wonder if Skirlet reminds him of the younger sibling he left behind, the one he placed on a stranger's doorstep with a piece of candy. Maybe keeping her close is his way of holding on to the kind of bond he never got to have if things had gone differently.
Drowning again.
What the Mule does to Inber isn't just execution, it's a repetition. We've already talked about how Skirlet doesn't speak for herself and how everything she says is just what the Mule wants. And this time, she's the one who tells Inber to drown himself, and he does it with no hesitation. But that also brings us back to his surrender in the first place. Did he give up because he was a coward? Or because the Mule had already gotten into his head? Because let's say he surrendered out of fear. Even then, if someone like that is told to take their own life, you'd expect at least a moment of hesitation. But Inber doesn't pause, he just obeys, which makes it feel like the Mule had already taken over, like he wasn't just afraid and he was trying to please him. But the Mule doesn't make him drown because it's efficient, but because it means something. It's the exact way the Mule was supposed to die, and now he's flipped it to prove to himself that he's in control. And I think that's the whole point of that scene. And in true Mule style, it was a performance not to just punish Inber, but to make everyone be a witness to the moment. He's putting his trauma on display and forcing people to reenact it under his terms. And after it's done, the Mule says, "Bad way to go." But he knew that already.
The smile that means you've already lost.
By the time the Mule arrives on New Terminus, the war is already over, and he knows it. Foundation ships are firing on each other, the city's leadership is collapsing, and all he has to do is land and take over. The Mule's presence alone breaks people. Mayor Inber folds immediately. Warden Greer shoots the only person who resists, and just like that, the planet is his, and he didn't even have to raise a finger. All he had to do is just sit back and watch the weight of fear and the illusion that surrender is inevitable. He says he wants to be referred to as First Citizen. It sounds democratic, but it's just another way to control the narrative, to make tyranny look like order. The Mule doesn't want to look like a warlord. He acts like someone who's already rewritten the ending. Because in his mind, he doesn't have to win. He just has to make sure no one else believes they can.
The lie that might be true.
And at the end of the episode, the Mule stands face to face with Hari Seldon's hologram. He tells his story. He owns his pain. And then Hari does something no one else has dared to do. He questions it. What if the Mule is lying? What if that origin, the drowning, the betrayal, the pain, wasn't real or wasn't the whole truth? And here's the unsettling part. It doesn't even matter because the story worked. It shaped the way people see him. It justifies what he does. It makes every planet he conquers feel like a step in a destiny that was written by suffering. That's what makes the Mule so dangerous. It's not even about his power or his past, but his ability to bend emotion into myth. He tells people what to feel, and they follow. Maybe it happened exactly the way he said, or maybe it didn't. But either way, he's already rewritten the future. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like this, you can also check out our other Foundation videos right now. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.